What's happening, Marshall family? Long time no see. Hao Bujian. To my Chinese people, whatever. Ni hao. You get it. Time for another combat commentary. Wada! Yeah, your boy Turtle Sage here. So, on today's episode of Combat Commentaries, we're going to talk about losing. Specifically, losing my losses, my most spectacular L's. So, it's good to reflect on these because the way I feel about it, losing, if you're not losing, you're not learning. And honestly, in that sense, it can be a good thing. Yeah, it sucks. No one likes getting KO'd or whatever, or submitted, or insert, lose by decision. But sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes these L's you take are life lessons. Okay, so we're going to talk about the top five. Number one, this one should be plainly obvious. Well, the first time, I'd actually been learning Taiji for about, at the time, 3 years. And I took a trip down to Dallas for Chinese New Year because my old Kung Fu school, Lee's White Leopard Kung Fu, celebrates it every year. And so we were in class. I was in class, because, old habits die hard. Every time I go down there, I got to train, reminisce, practice Mahjong Longhorn, even practice Tai Chi. Well, this is the first time since I started Tai Chi that I got to push with my old Sifu, Grandmaster Johnny Lee. And yes, Grandmaster in every sense of the word. Oh, I knew it was going to be just bedlam. I wasn't going to get an inch at all on this guy because, if you've seen the videos I've posted of him, he's a lineage holder. Well, he's a lineage holder in Northern Shaolin Mahjong Longhorn Kung Fu, but he's also a Wu style master of Tai Chi, and his students are some of them are champions, push hands champions. So you can imagine how I dealt with that. Man, look, it was like fighting the ocean. And anytime I even thought of moving, I was getting flipped and thrown. Not much I could do, but just kind of laugh. And he had this big smile on his. If you know Grandmaster Lee, he always gets that big smile on his face when he does something to you in combat. Like, oh, come on, you could do better than that. I'm like, no, I can't. This is all I got. I'm good. The next one, number 4, continuing with the Tai Chi losses, was against my present Sifu in the art of Tai Chi. So it was Sifu Herb Perrin, my teacher, Chen Style Hunyin Tai Chi. One day I was pushing him, and this is probably even worse than Grandmaster Lee, only because Grandmaster Lee was at least using 2 hands. Sifu Herb was using 1 hand to my 2 hands, and I thought, I think I had been 5 years in the game, and this man did single arm circle and just a light push. He knew, he could feel my weak points in my structure, and he put me on my back. I didn't even stumble like I would with Master Lee. No, this is no doubt about it. Lay down, and all I could do was laugh. And he just, Sifu Herb, he's cool dude, man. That's my dude, man. All he did was he just smirked and I just looked at him, and it was it was unspoken, yes, now you have much to learn, Grasshopper. That was that L. Okay, moving on. So we're gonna get more hardcore with it. Okay, this is another White Leopard L. I was fighting one of my other Sifus. We were doing continuous sparring. Sifu Gregory Milligan. Sifu Greg is, black belt in Mahjong Longhorn Kung Fu. Looks like Christian Bale and fights like Batman. And he's probably one of the just fastest human beings I've ever dealt with in combat. At least top three. Because anytime I would get close to him, I'd eat one of his long legs. He ain't that much taller than me. I think that's what made it so funny. But this one, I caught a hook kick of his to the head, and I'm wearing headgear too. So you can imagine how worse this would have been had I have been just, uncovered dome piece, right? So, yeah, he caught me with a hook kick, and I did one of the, you ever watch boxing or MMA's most spectacular knockouts, where they do the bobblehead? Yes, I did the bobblehead, and there was a little bit of blood coming out of my mouth, and and he was like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I can still fight. And I just sat down in the chair. I'm like, "All right, I think I'll take a break. I'm good. I'm done." Because I was like knocked out on my feet. It was like you've seen a Bruce Lee movie. Insert really spectacular kung fu movie, right? That was horrific. So ate his hook kick, full on. Moving on. My probably my best martial arts friend in the game. One of them at least, top three. Samuel George Canzero III, the Italian stallion, Caesar himself. Okay, this L was what made this L. I guess you can't really call it spectacular, but for the longest we had both just been striking each other. So Sam had started. He'd been on, obviously on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kick, which is fine, absolutely respect. Increase your skill set. And now me, I had been into Tai Chi, but I had no ground fighting experience at the time. This was before I started ninjutsu. And hey, you want to try it? Because, you've never done this. So we start grappling, right? I swear to God, in a 2-minute round, we set the clock. It was just 2 minutes. I got submitted about 4 or 5 times. I lost count because it was like I was if I could take off my feet at that time, it's like a turtle on his back. Pardon the pun, turtle sage. Anyway, yeah, and he's just laughing like, "Oh, you want to keep going? Yeah, man, run that shit back, son. Run that shit back." So no, after that, I decided I needed to get that ground fighting. It's kind of like the United States drops the bomb on Japan, right? World War for my history buffs. Well, a couple years later, Soviet Union got to get their hands on some nukes. I'm like, oh no, I can't let this ride. It's or for my anime fans, Goku turns Super Saiyan, defeats Frieza. Trunks Super Saiyan defeats Frieza. Vegeta just sitting there like, some bullshit, man. Some old bullshit. I gotta go turn Super Saiyan. I would train 400 times Earth's gravity, and I'm gonna beat Kakarot and become the true Prince of all Saiyans, as I always have been. Anyway, so that said, it was like one of my favorite lines in The Mask of Zorro with Anthony Hopkins and Antonio Banderas. He said, "When the student is ready, the master shall appear." It was like, I think it was like that year, as soon as I had got wrecked on the ground against Sam, it was like Ross Sabord appeared at the gang at Heartland Ninjutsu. And it was like, okay, here we go. And after that, now when I grapple Sam, it might be like, we might go 5 rounds. And in that 5-round span of just pure grappling or rolling, whatever, he might submit me once or twice, which is a lot better than 4 or 5 times in one round. Like, Jesus. Now, here is the final fight, and you guys have seen it on YouTube, where I fight my ninjutsu teacher, Ross Saborin. 1 minute and 3 seconds. Wow. Or 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I think he was being, in fact, I don't think, I know he was being nice. And that's one you all have seen where he just submitted me, drove his shoulder blade into my carotid artery. And I was like, ah, can't breathe, I'm dying. Okay, that's the one you've seen. There's plenty of other fights where not even just it was 1v1, it was me and his 2 sons. We ran up on his ass and just got wrecked. It was like the final fight in Ninja Turtles, where they're on the rooftop fighting Shredder, and Shredder is just molly-whopping all of them. That's what it's. He's like the real life Shredder, and I've defeated the Foot Clan. I got my black belt. I'm like, yeah, son. God, I love being a turtle. And then he shows up. You fight well in the old style, but you have caused me enough trouble. Now you face Saborin. I don't know. But one fight we had was so hilarious. Well, hilarious to him at the time. It was actually, I think it was like my black belt test. He was doing my black belt test or my brown belt test, where I'm grappling him, and he has this white, hakama on, very traditional because it's a test. And I'm holding my own. I try to get him in a fireman's carry throw, the one where you kind of do one of these and just lift him up, right? And so he just kind of flattens out and just kind of I can't hold him. He knows how to shift his weight, and nothing I could do. After a while, I just kind of just like, I did all the moves that I could do in my repertoire, but it wasn't enough. And I just eventually I just kind of burnt out. Because I think, I had the flu when I was fighting him. But I held my own. I wasn't going to, mama didn't raise no bitch. So I did the best I could. And he stands up and bows and smirks. That's something with all my teachers, they always smirk. I've noticed that. And he just reaches into his hakama and drops a tanto, the Japanese dagger, on the ground and just walks away. And it was kind of letting me know, anytime I want to, I can end you. And it was just at that point, it was humbling. But they were all these fights were humbling. And it's a good thing because these were good losses. It was like, there's always a new plateau. And that's the mentality that you all should have. There's nothing wrong with losing. Okay, if you're not losing, it's kind of like the first time I went swimming. Yeah, I'm going to be flailing about and I'm not going to look like, Michael Phelps. But eventually, I was in Boy Scouts. I was like 11 or 12. Go to Camp Famous Eagle, for those of you who know about that, and I did the mile swim. So there's always levels to this. So don't ever get discouraged if you take a severe L. Persevere, get better, get stronger. And if you like this commentary and you want to see more of it, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell icon, share it with your friends, get a good laugh at my expense. I know I did. Because, if you can laugh at yourself, it's very humbling. And martial arts is not just about winning all the time. Sometimes you got to take an L. It's self-cultivation. And to cultivate yourself, you got to be humble. Like, if I think, if I'm so arrogant that I think I can't learn nothing, I'll never get better. So, with that said, practice hard, get stronger, my friends, and be water. And with that said, Turtle Sage, signing off.